Good, happy Sunday to you. I am doing a video update. My Good Godfather page. Just to start to explore some things. First off, in the process of developing I guess my creative life or whatever, I've been applied myself to a number of studies as a person who's been invested in the Christian religion now for a number of years, and that's played itself out in a number of various forms. But in the most recent form it's taken for me has been just in my study of the tradition of history and looking at how things developed, and the more research that I do, the more I've come to the realization, or at least the agreement, that English and Western culture, language, tradition, education, science, math, astronomy, virtually all angles of thought that are Western, I am more and more fully convinced that all of those things are tied to and are born out of the people known as the Israelites, or the offspring of the characters from the Old Testament scriptures, i.e. Genesis, the Hebrew Torah, or the Pentateuch, as they're also called, the first 5 books of the Bible. And I am more and more convinced that whatever it is, the culture that we have today comes from them. And me as a musician, Good Godfather being my music investment into the world, I've learned how this music comes from whatever they were doing there. Not that music was invented by Hebrews at all, but the way that we express music and the way we intuit music today comes from the way that the Hebrew King David intuited his role as a king and as a sort of a high priest, and those two things are supposed to be married together, being a king and being a priest, and being royalty, somebody who governs, and somebody who intuits the will of God, their creator. And so along with that has come here now in the 21st century, learning the things that people are learning these days, maybe in college campuses, seminaries, even churches, synagogues. People share all kinds of information wherever they're at, whether they're at a school, church, or a coffee shop. And one of the things that we can observe about the created universe is that there's an order to things, and that order in every case is necessary in order to maintain the structure of whatever living thing in order to remove parts that are decaying and bring in new parts that are building and growing and nurturing, and but all of it can be expressed in the first verse of the two books, the Gospel of John and the book of Genesis, which in the book of John, in the Gospel of John, says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was Theos, Logos. In the beginning was the Logos, and the Logos was with the Theos, and the Logos was in fact Theos, Theo, Theon, and that is indicative of the world that you see around you, because if we are, as it says in Genesis, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and He spoke it into existence. He said, "Let there be this," and it was that. And there's people that will say, like, "Oh, that is just what it was," and so He was saying, "Let it be what it is." And sure. My point is that the communication and the creation are tied, that they're two sides of the same coin, that the communication that is happening is part and parcel with the creation that is happening. And so tied to the communication and tied to is the creation, and tied to the creation is the communication. So that being the case, we here, conscious observer Sean, who is interacting with other conscious observers that may be out there in digital borderlands wasteverse, that y'all and I can observe. Okay, well, the big debate today now is, well, these are ancient ideas and these are primitive people. What could they possibly know? 'Cause now we are so enlightened and we just know so much better, and we're just more realistic than those people were back then. They were just, inflating themselves with these ideas that are just so unbelievable. And our ration and our reason is just so much more, it's better grounded in the reality of things. It's not so extraordinary that there should be something rather than nothing. That's just how things are. And I don't know, maybe that's the case, but the question is, that might be the case, but in order to assess the situation, we have to investigate exactly what it is that those people are talking about, if we're going to say that we have a handle on it at all, and to even criticize it, to criticize Christianity or criticize Judaism or any other religion for that matter. We have to at least investigate what they mean, what they're talking about, in order to interact with that and establish a strong case for what the truth is. And what we find is that, in fact, quantum physics and genetics all very much express this notion of communication being the mechanism of substance and matter and material. E equals mc squared. Energy is equal to